All right, good morning. I'm Mitchell Englander, and I want to thank Joe Buscaino for being here this morning. Shout out one more time, you'll be excused from this meeting. You know all the rules, Mr. Herman. One more time, and you're out. Got it? All right. Don't disrupt this meeting, particularly now. We got a lot going on, and I apologize we're starting late this morning. Obviously, we all heard the news on LAUSD and closing down all the schools in Los Angeles, and so I've been dealing with certainly all of that this morning as well, so I appreciate everybody's patience and for being here. We have a number of items and a number of cards, and because of the nature of where things are at right now, and I want to make sure that we also adhere to the rules, we're going to limit public comment to a total of 3 minutes for all items combined, and a minute on each item. And because we'll have the other option of, in fact, actually, I'm going to check in with our city attorney for a second on this matter. Hold on. All right. Those who filled out the general public comment cards, it'll be noted and filed. Thank you very much. But we will not have general public comment since we do not have a quorum, and that can't be met anyway. And so I'm going to jump right to the items. A number of items on consent, and I've moved a few more of those to consent as well in light of where we're at this morning. In the state of the city. So with that on consent, we're going to go with items 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then let me just read off on those that are approved versus those that are note and filed. So 3, 4, and 5 and 6 are approved. 7 is a note and file. 8 is approved. 10 is a note and file. 11 is approved. 12 is approved. 13 through 21. The balance of the items are note and filed. Unless my colleague has any questions or concerns on any of those items? Okay. Then that'll be the order from direction of the chair. We're on item 9, and I'll give you a copy of this as well, of my notes. Oh, on item 3, I believe we do have a technical amendment on item 3. So if we can ask the technical correction amendment, I believe needs to be read into the record. Is that correct?
Item 3 has a CAO report that was submitted after the agenda. There is an amendment to that. The technical corrections are as follows. Page 10, item 5A. To transfer from the LA Fire Department salaries amount, that amount should be $160,300. The next one is to transfer. The transfer from the total should be $693,878.01, and the transfer to total should be $693,878.01. On page 11, item 5B, the transfer to overtime sworn should be $519,840.41. And the last correction will be it'll be page 11, item 5C. The transfer amount from Fund 55X should be $11,269.51.
Great, excellent. Thank you very much. And that'll be the order. Okay. And that's approved then with the technical correction. Let's go ahead and go. Item 9, we're going to continue to January 19th. And then we'll just go ahead and jump over to item 1 and 2 and take those together. First for cards. We'll have a minute on each. The first one is Robert McKeeman.
Good morning. My name is Robert McKeeman. I'm the CEO of Utility. Thank you for allowing me to address 3 points this morning about your body-worn camera agenda items 38 and 40, items number 1 and 2. I'm going to talk about 3 items: the U.S. Border Patrol camera feasibility study, why the Border Patrol is not deploying taser cameras. Number 2, the just completed Long Beach body-worn camera RFP evaluation and selection. And number 3, capabilities that Long Beach will get on a body-worn camera that taser does not offer. The August 2015 U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Protection body-worn camera feasibility study included the quote, "These body-worn cameras, which included taser, tend to provide limited effectiveness and for the most part are not suited for FBP operational use." The report goes on to list 8 adverse factors that may adversely affect CBP officers and agents' operations and mission. I encourage you to review this report before you commit to a possible major investment in body-worn cameras. Here's a copy of the report. I'd be happy to leave that if you'd like to have a copy.
If you could, yeah, I would like a copy of it.
Yes, I will
Okay,
do
great.
that.
Thank you. We'll have the sergeant grab that. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And before we turn it over to LAPD, we have a number of gadfly cards as well. Eric Previn. A minute for him. Dr. Williams. Oh, no, you don't have one on 1 and 2. Just Eric, I believe.
Good morning, Council Member Englander. This is not going to be a public comment in front of a quorum, so I understand that this is just gravy. And
This is on item 1. Stick to the item.
No, I know, but will I have an opportunity?
This is item 1. Stick to the item.
Right, but will I have an opportunity to speak in front of a quorum?
You say you know the rules better than us all the time.
I don't know the rules. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. The city attorney?
Sir.
Is that respondable to?
Sir, we don't respond to the public comment. You know that. You speak in every single committee meeting and every single council meeting. So your clock's ticking. It's yours.
Sir, public comment should be in front of at least a quorum, is my understanding. So I'm happy to come back for
We'll follow the rules.
and I'll do that, but I don't want to be misled into not understanding what's happening.
We will follow the rules and the law.
But you have to share with us what the rules and the law is.
Speak to the item, please.
Okay, this is the point. Okay, fine. Give me a minute and I'll speak on the item, but I will have a chance in front of a quorum, I hope. That's appropriate, guys. So item 1 is an item for body-worn video cameras, which are obviously zeitgeisty right now. Nationwide, there's the feeling that law enforcement and the public will, of course, benefit from
Okay, thank you very much. Your time's
then-
up. Thank you very much.
You're joking, right?
Sir, your time is
I
up.
have a procedure.
Sir, now you're excuse me.
Okay.
You're disrupting the meeting. Okay, Herman, I asked you not to yell out again. Now you're excused. Thank you very much. See you later. Sir Herman, you're being asked to leave. You've disrupted the meeting. I've warned you at the beginning of the meeting. You shout it out again. Now you're still disrupting the meeting. Don't argue with me. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Sergeant, please show him out. Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Excuse me? Excuse me? Now you're still disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting this meeting. I'm still holding a meeting. It's a meeting committed by the chair. You're still disrupting the meeting. You're continuing to disrupt this meeting. You're still disrupting this meeting.
Fuck you.
You're disrupting this meeting.
Fuck you, England.
Excuse me?
Vote no for England.
You want to get,
County's
excuse me, you're disrupting the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. So we can have staff now come on up from LAPD. Thank you very much. I don't have any other cards on these items. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So if you could walk us through how the selection process occurred. Certainly, we also received the testimony and letter from Mr. Robert McKeeman this morning. And if you can address some of these concerns and issues. I don't know if you've been shared a copy of the letter,
I haven't.
sort of talking about both the RFP process, alluding to the fact or making the accusation that this perhaps was rushed, is what the letter says, that this technology is not the best technology for LAPD, is what it says here in the letter. And if you could just answer some of those things. I don't know that we need to do a deep reach into the actual policy or technology or the acquisition. We've done that, and we've spent a great deal of time and many conversations publicly about that, as well as going out there in the field and what we did to field test it and come up with this. So if you could just give us a thumbnail and walk us through sort of where we were on all of those things, that'd be great.
Good morning, Maggie Goodrich, CIO for the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm joined by Sergeant Dan Gomez from Information Technology Bureau at LAPD.
Tyler Munhall, CAO.
So the competitive evaluation process to make the selection of the camera actually began a couple of years ago. And that started with a look at the entire market at that time to identify all of the total solutions that were out there. There are a lot of individuals or companies that make cameras, but not necessarily many that make a total solution, which will include storage, video management solution, tracks chain of custody, audit logs, that type of thing, also able to share online with the city attorney and district attorney for production of evidence in cases, that type of thing. So we were really looking for a total solution that was reliable, that was secure, and that was easy to use. After an analysis of the market, we identified two that we believed were really the top competitors in the market, and that was Taser International and a camera made by Vivu in concert with a back office solution made by Coban Technologies. And Coban's actually the in-car video vendor for the city. So we tested those two solutions in a field test. 30 officers tested both solutions in the field here actually in the downtown area. Those officers are assigned to the Safer Cities Initiative. They each tested each camera for a total of 90 days, provided us regular feedback on the use of that camera. And in addition to that, Sergeant Gomez's section, which is the tactical technology section that evaluates all new and emerging technology that will pertain to field use, also did an evaluation of both technologies side by side to compare the cameras and the back office solutions and really do an apples to apples comparison in a more sort of measured approach outside of the everyday sort of operational use by the field. Ultimately, Taser was recommended. The initial purchase was actually made by the Police Foundation through generous donations that were made to the foundation. We were able to receive a total of 860 cameras through that donation. Those cameras were deployed basically starting end of August through September. We deployed to 3 divisions, Mission, Central Traffic, and Newton. So those cameras have been operational now for a few months. That deployment is going well. And what's before you today is the procurement of the remaining 6,140 cameras to complete a total deployment of 7,000 cameras in the field. That will put a camera on every sworn uniformed officer who's engaged in some sort of enforcement assignment. So that's not only patrol, but that's all the specialized uniformed enforcement assignments as well, such as gangs and others. The agreement before you is a 5-year agreement with Taser. It locks in the pricing for 5 years with Taser. It provides us with the cameras at more than half off of their list price, provides us with the hosted storage at evidence.com, as well as the access to all the software that comes with that. So the ability to use the online video management solution to review video, to tag video, to add metadata to that video, and then also to share the video evidence, as I mentioned, online with the DA and city attorney, which is a big improvement over what we do today with in-car video, which is burn discs and drive them around the city for case filings. We're actually able to get prosecutors evidence much more quickly up front so that they can consider it at the time of case filing and consider it in terms of pleas and other items. Included in this agreement is a technology upgrade at 2 different points in the contract. So what we're actually procuring is 3 cameras for each officer, essentially, over the life of the contract, because we will get 7,000 replacement cameras up to the newest model that TASER offers at year 2.5 in this
Do that with all of our
contract,
black
and then
and white.
year 5. This technology is advancing really rapidly, and so that will allow us to be able to keep up with new advances in the technology. It also includes the procurement of 4,400 CEWs. Those are the electrical weapons that are the actual TASER devices that TASER is known for. That will complete the deployment of 1 TASER for every officer in the field as well. The other thing that's included in this agreement, though we're not purchasing directly from TASER, is a mobile device or a smartphone that comes with each camera. While we were able to procure those through TASER, we actually were able to realize a cost savings by buying those directly through Sprint rather than through TASER. Due to the volume, we were able to work out a much better price through Sprint.
Do those include the cases and protection for those as well? Because those are
Yeah, we'll
easily
have
damaged.
ruggedized cases on each one. It also includes a mobile device management solution, which is a software solution that allows us to manage the phones that are out there in a secure manner. If an officer loses a phone, for example, we can wipe that phone remotely so that no data remains on there, and can manage what type of mobile applications are allowed to be downloaded to that phone. The other thing that it includes is the development of some mobile apps. So what we're calling the Connected Officer Platform is actually being enabled also by the deployment of these cameras. So we'll be developing mobile apps for field use that will enable officers to get rid of some of the paper processes they do today, and also eliminate the need to go back to the station to do a number of processes that they do today. So for example, today an officer, for every stop they make, they fill out a paper field interview card.
Right.
Via the Connected Officer Platform and the app world that will be standing up in conjunction with Sprint specific to LAPD, we'll basically have our own app stores, like Apple has an app store, or Google has the Play Store, that will include an electronic FI, so that officers will be able to actually scan or take a photo of a driver's license. All that information will be ingested, so it will reduce the time of either handwriting or typing, and make that information available digitally immediately for sharing across the department, and also for situational awareness for that officer there in the field. Today, those paper cards are input by records clerks down the line and available, maybe a few weeks, if not months later, depending on the backlog of those cards coming in. The other thing that we're focused on right away is the development of an application to collect all of our stops data. So today, we collect information on each stop that we make, and actually the state legislature has just passed some law that will require us to add some additional fields to what we collect. Today, officers keep track of that information and enter it when they get back to the station. We'll be able to, via these mobile devices, enable that data entry straight into the mobile device.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you for this. I am more concerned with the operation, the procedure, and I wanted to hear from you the department's policies on when officers can turn off, turn on the camera, if you can share that with me. And lastly, what will be the exact process of putting on these body cameras, having the action be recorded, then uploading it to the database where it'll be held for storage? I understand there's some cloud storage issues as well. Do we have the capability, the capacity to store the data that's going to be captured?
Sure. So the policy requires that an officer activate their camera prior to initiating contact with the public when they are going to be engaged in some sort of enforcement or investigative activity with that member of the public. So, for example, an individual who stops an officer and asks for directions, no requirement to turn on that camera, because that's not an enforcement or investigative activity. But if they are taking some sort of enforcement or investigative action, they are required to turn that camera on prior to initiating that contact. If for some reason they can't initiate the camera, for example, if somebody points a gun at them, the first thing obviously is to react to that situation, protect themselves and those around them, and then activate the camera. In those instances, we require that an officer articulate in writing why they were unable to activate the camera prior to that public contact. The camera is required to remain on throughout the entirety of the public contact, and the officer turns it off when the contact is ended. The cameras are not meant to record private conversations among officers, to record, officers talking about tactics or anything like that. It's purely
I know
for
the item
public
before us has to do with the contract itself. I am, in my years with the LAPD, I know that we've had some trust issues between the police department and the community. Obviously, we go back, and Dan, we work together on the consent decree, which I felt have made this department a better, secure, a more trustworthy department. I feel that these body cameras add another layer of that faith, trust, and confidence for our police department. I'm also hesitant to support this contract, and I'll tell you why. In my district, in the Harbor area, we have an empty jail. I know this has a lot to do with prioritization of funding, but we have before us a contract that will expend, over $50 million over the next 5 years, in which I feel we can clearly hire detention officers and fill my LAPD Harbor Jail, which continues to sit vacant. And we've been hearing a lot of noise from our neighborhood council leaders in the Harbor area. I also hear from my area commanding officer that she needs more resources to address the rise in property crimes. But, when she says resources, she's not talking about, she's not talking about, she's not calling on me and say, hey, Councilman, I need more body cameras. Instead, she says, I need more bodies. I just took the Silver Line to work today and ran into two San Pedro residents on the bus ride to City Hall. And then first thing they said is, what's going on with our increase in crime, Councilman? And I shared with them, we are going to vote on a contract to expend over $50 million over the next 5 years. Would you rather have body cameras on our officers, or would you rather see an increase of police officers on the streets? And by the way, they were both victimized with property crimes. One, a victim of a grand theft auto. Thankfully, they recovered the car. Another was a theft. They clearly said we need to see more officers on the streets. And so, I'm here struggling with approving this contract, but I do know indeed we need to have and equip our officers with technology in order for them to do better policing. Especially in light of some of the law enforcement agencies around the country. But let me be clear. We're no Ferguson here. We are no Chicago PD. We're not NYPD. We are the LAPD. And we have come a long way in establishing the relationships with the community. And I know this will also protect the officers' actions. I'm in favor of that as well. And I experienced in-car video. South Bureau was the pilot program for in-car video, so I experienced that as well. So with that, I know I'm going on, but I just need to be clear that it's hard for me to go back to my community who's demanding a jail to be open with detention officers and who are demanding for more cops on the street. But at the same time, I know this effort, this contract is going to make the department a more secure department that's going to continue to establish that faith, trust, and confidence with the community it serves.
All right, thank you very much. One thing, we've got, I think, another minute for Eric as well, Previn, to speak, because he filled out a card on 1 and 2, and we took those together, so we'll give him another minute. But I just wanted to close with, look, this has been going on from what I've been dealing with for the last 3 years. This is not new. And I started first talking about bringing in this kind of solution far before it either became popular or even departments were interested in doing a look at utilizing this with every officer. And so I can't thank you enough for giving this a lot of time and attention, field testing, working with the officers, working with the public, developing the policies, but more importantly, this is about the contract. Contract and negotiating this contract, not only, I think, have you done a phenomenal job with the replacements and the upgrades and the added storage, and storage is very, very expensive, the encryption levels to ensure that the, and what I will call investigative material is protected, but also working with through in a very transparent manner with the Police Protective League and so many different stakeholders on this contract, as well as the added benefit in and of itself, which I don't believe you can quantify or qualify either in officer time, accuracy, or taxpayer dollars in the app suites and having smart technology in the hands of every officer. That in of itself is invaluable. And so with all of that, I fully recommend this. And but before we actually move the item, I'm going to bring up Mr. Previn if he wants his last minute. And you guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Obviously, thank you to the department for that report. It's Eric Previn from CD2. I'm a little concerned about this process, just to be honest. Okay, this is not a quorum, and
Speak to the item. This is not on the. That's not general public comment. You're on the item itself.
Yeah, Taser International is a good group. They are from Arizona. I was ahead of Sobroff in supporting the idea of these cams. All I'm focused on is how this materialized so quickly and why we have foundations putting things into play. And then it seems to me the competitive bidding piece is murky. And I, have been trying, I've been diligent to understand how that process happened, and I can't see it. And that is a beneath the standard that I think all Los Angelinos feel for these kinds of major contracts. It's not a $31 million contract. It's a $57 million contract. It includes lots of different moving parts, and there are competitors in this space. So I just expect more in the way of transparency.
Thank you very much. I do have one amendment that I would like to make, and that is on, it has to do with item 2, and that is recommendation number 7. And the recommendation from this committee will be to rescind the council action, and the council file number is 10002-S36. And then also to approve the CAO's report will be the action of item 2. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, that's on item actually 1, not 2. I apologize. That's actually relative to item 1. So both of those items with the amendment on item 1 will move forward as amended. And with that, I don't believe we have any other items before us.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.